Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RV GCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RV GCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RV GCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter, and welcome to Goldilocks Global Banking News. Over 1 million views, almost 17,000 subscribers worldwide, and many, many countries tuning in. Folks, it is said that the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues Room, the Goldilocks followers, Goldilocks, Wiley, Freedom Fighter, are saying something totally different than any other channel. That is true. And we also are so different that we get results and have receipts with our members who are able to establish relationships with the actual bankers who will exchange their currencies, conversations about exchanging their currencies, wealth managers that are fiduciaries that have signed contracts with our members to exchange their currencies. Yes, that's different. When we have members that are going to lunch and dinner with wealth managers who are setting up strategies and structuring their generational plans and wealth plans for their future, that's different. When we have wealth managers and banks that are calling our members, begging them for their business, asking them if it's okay to please participate in structures to have their money and their funds come to their bank, that's different. When it comes to, hey, let's meet at the nail salon at the mall this Saturday so my children and your children can meet. Wealth manager, member of Goldilocks Room, that's different. Hey, Goldilocks member, wealth manager says, let's meet at the shooting range and bang bang, pow pow. That's different. Let's meet at the golf course. Goldilocks member, the wealth manager says, let me bring my attorneys to meet with you as well. Goldilocks member, the wealth manager says, the banker says, yeah, that's different. Hey, Goldilocks member, the banker says, let me introduce you to 20 plus other very wealthy millionaires that are clients of our firm. Goldilocks member, the banker says, yeah, that's different. Let me have breakfast with you, Goldilocks member, at your home. The banker says, yeah, that's different. We are proud to be different. Folks, Goldilocks today is sharing some more different information. Different to the masses, but it's normal to the Goldilocks members. If you don't understand what reciprocal tariffs are, understand this. Think of taxes. Reciprocal tariffs that go into effect on April the 2nd, today. Reciprocal tariffs are taxes where countries will tax each other to do trade and business with each other. As a matter of fact, the United States has been taxed heavily for the previous years, let's say decades, on doing trade with most countries around the world. And the United States is one of the largest importers, meaning we are the ones who ship more goods and services to our country, more so than a lot of other countries. But we are taxed heavily for it, or have been. Not until the Trump administration, where now the Trump administration will tax other countries as well. But just think of the importance of it like this and how it relates to the RV. Just imagine all these countries around the world that do trade, of course, on the water with each other. They do trade, they ship through their shipping ports and containers, goods, products all over the world. Now there begins to be a tariff war or a tax war where these countries will tax each other more for doing business with each other. Now, look at it like this. If it has been one way for so long where these countries have been taxing the U.S. so heavily, or not so fairly taxing each other as much, that now each country, especially the United States, will start taxing these countries, there's going to be a shift with currencies. There's going to be an imbalance if these countries don't start to move their currencies to make up for the deficits in the taxes that they receive. So look at yourself, for example. Just think of yourself. If your annual salary is, let's just say, for example, $50,000, and you are paying taxes 40%, that 40% comes off the top before you even see it. So now you're down to, you're almost down to $35,000 from 50 that you'll see. You don't even see the 50. If your annual salary is 100,000, you don't see $100,000. 40% of that goes to who? Uncle Sam. So if you're at 100,000, you may see roughly, you may see 60,000. But you don't see that all at one time. So you got to divide that up 12 months. Then you got your expenses. You got your mortgage or your rent, your lights, your gas, your car note, your children, school tuition, so forth and so on. So if your salary is 100,000, your tariff is 40% of that. So just think all these countries around the world that are taxing each other. So you say to yourself, dang, my salary is 100. I only see about maybe 50, 60,000. So you think, oh, I got to get a second income. I got to do something to raise the value of my paper in my pocket. And then that gets taxed. Folks, these countries that are going to get hit with all these taxes, aka tariffs, they got to figure out a way how they can raise the value of their paper money. What do they got to do? Dong, dinar, Iraq, Vietnam, Venezuela, China, all these countries. They're going to have to move the value of their currency. It's not enough money coming in to offset the taxes that they're getting hit with what are called tariffs. Now, what Goldilocks has is a question for you. Do reciprocal tariffs on all countries create a revaluation in gold globally? Let's jump right into this. Does reciprocal tariffs on all countries create a revaluation in gold? Reciprocal tariffs, where a country imposes tariffs or taxes, folks, on its imports equal to the tariffs other countries impose on its exports could indeed have a complex effect on global trade and currency valuations, including gold. If all countries adopted reciprocal tariffs or these taxes on each other, global trade would likely contract as barriers throughout the world. Gold, as a traditional safe haven asset, often revalues upward when trust in fiat money begins to falter. And Goldilocks is sharing that it's not a straight line. Tariffs spark shocks throughout the world on the water. Just like a shock to your income. If you have your money coming in, but Uncle Sam taking the majority of it before you even see it, that's a shock to your income. You are getting hit with tariffs every single time you get paid. You get hit with a tax, right? That's called a tariff. So you think to yourself, man, I gotta get a second job, a third job, something. So you gotta get more money, and you get more taxes hit on you. You get more tariffs. But what if you could just make a shift, and all of a sudden you are able to raise the value of your money for it to stretch further, longer, for you to get more at the grocery store. But no, we don't have a system where we can do that. The global banking system does. What is that? Whereby through supply and demand of these goods and services on the water, these countries around the world, central banks, can begin to move the values of their currencies by way of the supply and demand of these taxes and tariffs on the water. This is why Goldilocks has coined the phrase, watch the water. Goldilocks is stating that when countries engage in a reciprocal war tariff or reciprocal tariff war, think of it as a tax war with each other, where each country imposes retaliatory taxes on the goods coming in and out of their country from these various countries. The effects on currency values can be very complex and depend on several economic factors. But folks, it is supply and demand on these currencies, as the foreign exchange market is 24/7, 5 days a week operation. Therefore, fluctuations will happen consistently and constantly throughout this tax or tariff war. And Goldilocks is stating that artificial intelligence will play a significant role in managing foreign currency dynamics during this reciprocal tariff war by enhancing decision making, optimizing strategies, and mitigating risks in a complex and volatile economic environment on the water. Reciprocal tariffs or reciprocal taxes disrupts imports and exports, impacting the demand for currencies tied to the goods that are shipped throughout the world between countries. Artificial intelligence systems can model these disruptions by analyzing the data and the tariff or the tax rates, therefore affecting foreign currency. Artificial intelligence works with foreign currency during reciprocal tariffs by providing predictive insights and analysis, optimizing trade and financial strategies between countries. Its effectiveness depends on the quality of data and the ability to adapt rapidly to the changes in trade between the countries. This is why no coincidence that we see the World Trade Organization update their digital system. Iraq just updated their digital system. And countries around the world updating their digital systems. All in preparation, knowing what was going to happen on April the 2nd. And the shifts that were needed to be made. So when you think of these taxes, aka tariffs, think of your own personal experiences of the income that you may have coming in. And off the top, bam, a ripple effect of 40-50% that you never see, that you're taxed by Uncle Sam. And then all your expenses on top of that. By the time you pay all of your expenses from whatever you receive, you then have to barely make it until next payday when you're taxed again. If you had the ability to make a shift on your own, that where instead of paying $2, $3, $4 for eggs, you're now able to pay 50 cents because your money goes longer. That means you're able to raise the value of what you have in currency or in your money. That is the effects of reciprocal taxes and tariffs, where these countries, by way of supply and demand in the global trade market, automatically the raising of the values up and down begin to move. It's not an immediate flip of the switch where all currencies go up in value, folks. This is a war, but a trade war, a tariff war. But it's not a war against each other, these countries. A war on poverty. A war on pain. A war on the devaluation and manipulation of each country's currency. In the end, God wins every single war. We are on the side of the Almighty. We love you both, beautiful people.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RV GCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RV GCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RV GCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.